what do we do with a high-quality American company that does a lot of business overseas in this environment where the super freaking strong dollar is really damaging those international numbers? And the Fed was unwilling to totally rule out another dollar-boosting rate hike in March. That's the issue we're dealing with when it comes to PPG, the specialty chemical maker that's a major producer of all sorts of proprietary paints and coatings. Notice I said proprietary, not commodity. Now, when PPG reported on Thursday of last week, the company managed to beat Wall Street's earnings estimates by a penny, even as its sales came in a little slightly below expectations, declining 0.3%. They would have been up 7% on a constant currency basis if it weren't for the dollar. Unfortunately, Wall Street doesn't seem to care about those constant currency numbers anymore, looking through them. Still, even though the headline numbers were a bit mixed, if you listen to the conference call like I did, new CEO Michael McGarry seemed quite positive about PPG's prospects going forward and about the overall health of the global economy, not to mention future demand for his company's products. These levels, the stock has fallen more than 20% from its highs last summer. Gotta wonder if maybe this is a decent opportunity here. Let's check in with Michael McGarry. He's the new president and CEO of PPG. Learn more about the quarter and where his company's headed. Mr. McGarry, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to be back. Appreciate the invite.
Oh, my God, I'm going to have to ask you to do a little reality check for us because our market's become quite gloomy, and you are pretty much the king of the markets that you're in. I'm going to do kind of a lightning round. You can tell me whether I'm too negative. Have autos peaked?
No, I think they're in the later stages in the U.S. They certainly still have room to grow in Europe. Registrations are outpacing sales, so we got more upward potential there. Certainly Brazil is going to be down. It's going to be down the whole year, we think. But China, I think we still have an opportunity for positive surprise given the fact that the tax on small engines has been reduced in half and will continue to be at the lower level for all of 2016.
And people who are watching this show should know that you have a great breadth of automakers, including most of the high end. So this is not something that has to do with just, yeah, we deal with the cheapest cars and they're doing okay.
No, we deal with everybody in China. In fact, we're, like I've told you before, we're agnostic about who sells the cars. We paint them all.
Okay, now, they had a very jarring number today from a great American company, Boeing, leading a lot of people to feel that aerospace is peak. But you're agnostic about aerospace, and you do a lot of coatings there. How are you feeling about that cycle?
Well, certainly we were disappointed that the build rates weren't higher, given the fact that they have a tremendous amount of backlog. But, we deal with everybody, and they have more products that come out in general aviation that are doing well. The big general aviation planes are doing pretty well. The smaller ones are struggling. But overall, we're selling more content per plane, so we're doing okay in that market. And we had a little bit soft in the fourth quarter, but we see a return to growth in the first quarter.
Okay, you do obviously coatings for homes, including a big business in Mexico. We had to hear, I read yesterday, a really stirring analysis of Forex that was amazing from Procter & Gamble, just saying, look out for, like, the Mexican peso, look out for Argentina. How are you feeling about coatings, particularly for residential, and I know you also do, for big buildings, in light of the fact that the currency is just not going your way?
Well, if you start in Mexico, we had a really tremendous quarter and a full year with our Comex acquisition. For the full year it was up almost 7%. We added our 4,000th store in Mexico, and our sales continue to grow, and we're very pleased with what we see there. Obviously, government spending is down a little bit in Mexico, but we're offsetting that by bringing new PPG products that Comex didn't have access to into Mexico, into Central America, and so we're doing quite well. Obviously, in the U.S. and Canada, our stores were flat if you combine U.S. and Canada due to the weak Canadian business. But we're pleased that we've gotten new traction with the branding in the U.S., and so we think we're starting to see a little bit of positive there as well.
All right, well, enough for the lightning round because I got the answers that I need from a great American company, which is that, you can't be all that gloomy if all that good news is happening. In Europe, once again, last time we spoke, Europe was getting actually a little bit better. It seems like that it has only improved since we spoke last.
Yeah, Jim, if you remember the last time we talked, Europe was up 1% in Q1, slightly better in Q2, about the same in Q3. Q4, we were up 3% in Europe. We see a lot of positives. Obviously, it's coming off a low base. Southern Europe is getting better. Germany, the Benelux, UK, Ireland have remained steady. So, it's not all the doom and gloom that you see out there if you only read the newspaper or listened to the TV.
And let's just finish up with another thing that I think is incredibly positive. Your raw costs, your lower materials costs, have made it so your gross margins have been pretty sensational since you've got in, wouldn't you say?
Well, I would tell you that our purchasing team has done a good job of working with our suppliers. But honestly, falling oil is both a positive and negative. We are a supplier into the marine business. We are a supplier in the oil business. And so, I'd rather be talking to our suppliers about innovation, because innovation is what drives us. So, steady oil is better than what we have, but constantly, we're working with our suppliers to have a fair price on all our products, and obviously working with our customers as well.
Well, I got to thank you for the reality check. If you just worked in stocks, you would think that the Federal Reserve is crazy. I mean, I at least understand why they might think that somebody's doing well, because PPG is certainly doing well. Mr. McGarry, President and CEO of PPG Industries, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Take the doom and gloom off the table, but when the stock market gives you gloom and doom prices, maybe think of PPG, because PPG is a bargain at gloom and doom prices. Mad Money's back into the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.